we get to, come together today in praise. And today I want to talk to you about witnessing. Last week, we talked about trusting. Trusting is so, so, so important. And it's not just carrying your faith around. It's not just carrying your faith around. It's laying it down, stepping up on it, using it as the rock that is your foundation, experiencing that. And Mildred gave us wonderful testimony, wonderful witness to that last week. And it is a blessing every time we can hear that miracle that God works. And it's our job to spread the news of that miracle, the rock that we stand on. And we heard today the passage about Peter's confession of Christ. Peter witnessed something. He experienced something, and he spoke to it. He claimed it. And then Christ said, "Don't tell anybody." And unfortunately, we see that, and it's confusing. But what we have to read is further on in the Transfiguration. It says why he told that to the disciples. It says, because the Son of Man is not yet glorified. Because if people start hearing one thing, they expect certain things. But when they see it, it is a shocking to your core, it's real type of experience. You witness it, and there it is. And we want to witness it. We want to see it. We want to experience it. And then we must bear witness. Another use of the word, to bear witness, to testify. To testify to what we have seen, to what we know we don't see with our eyes. What we feel in our heart, we see with the eyes of our soul. Our spirit experiences a new type of seeing when we are in Christ. And our witness carries that. And it carries it on the wind of our words. When we spread it to one person, like a fire, it does not die, but gets bigger. It becomes more potent, more powerful when we carry that witness to the world. And the Bible is full of that witness. We are prepared for it. From page 1, the Spirit of God hovered over the waters and breathed life into man's nostrils. We have the Spirit of God in us, enlivening us, making us who we are, giving us breath, and were He not there, we would have no life. We could not be. And we must take that breath and bring it to the world, our witness, to testify. John 5:37, the Father testifies to me. John 5:39, the Scriptures testify. Again, the word testify. Moses has spoken about me, the prophets. And then John the Baptist, he came to witness to the light. He was not the light, but came to bear witness to it. And we have the confessions of Peter. You are the Son of the living God. And Martha, the sister of Lazarus, meets Jesus on the road, begs him, Jesus, answer me, why? And Jesus said, so that you could see God at work. And he asked her, do you believe? And she says, I believe that we will see the resurrection on the last day. And he says to her, what? I am the resurrection and the life. And then we receive this blessing, this gift. We are to testify. We are sent. We are commissioned. In Jerusalem, in Judea, in Samaria, and to the ends of the earth, you shall carry my message, my witness to the world. And it's more than speaking. And last night I had to write this down all of a sudden because it came to me at midnight 30. And I'm scrambling for paper and I'm screaming at my husband, I gotta write this down, I gotta write this down. And he's going, okay, well, what do you need? I need to write it down. And finally found paper and I was absolutely panicked. And the thing that came to me quite clearly, never, never, never be complacent in your faith. Never be complacent in your faith. You say, God, I'm scared. I'm afraid. Lord, I'm afraid. And God says, no. Do not have fear. Have faith. Do not have fear. Have faith. Strong as anything. Words in my heart. Do not have fear. Have faith. The words I hear so often. The words that come pounding at me from every direction whenever I despair. Never give up. We trust, we have faith, and then we teach what we have learned through our love, through our actions. When God lifts us up, we reach out and we lift other people up. It is our witness in our actions. Our actions matter. And we remember the song. Sorry, I'm tired of holding this, but I have to use my hands. I'm a woman, I can't talk without my hands. We have to speak in action. Not just words, not just breath, but in movements. In living, vital living. Because the words, they will know we are Christians by our love. Don't carry the meaning it did even a few years ago. Why? Because Christians are not witnessing the love of God in their faith. Because Christian has become a dirty word in the secular world among the masses. It has lost its depth. Christian love has begun to mean to so many Christian only, Christian exclusive. And in the passage from Isaiah, it says, no, let not the foreigner say, I will be cut off. Let not the eunuch say, I am a dried twig. It says, no. I will prepare a special place for them. Those who seek me and follow my way, I will make a place for them. And it is our job to spread that message. It is our job to bear witness to Christ, the Son of the living God, who was brought to earth for us that we might know mercy. We have received a blessing that we could not achieve in any other way, shape, or form. We love because God loved us first. And we cannot copy what we have not received, but once we receive it, it is our job to live it, to express it, to spread it, to be that mercy. The reason it was so important to me to read the World Methodist Social Affirmation is because it is full, it is rich of the language of confessing our wrongs and claiming the responsibility and then lifting up our need for mercy. And then not just that, the promise to go out and spread that mercy, to spread what we have received to the betterment of not just others, but to the world. The idea that technology destroys the earth is true because we have factories that pollute people's drinking supplies. We have people who bottle water. Please don't buy bottled water. Because what they do is they go into places where people are too poor to fight back, and they take their water supply And the people cannot drink from their own rivers, and they cannot drink from their own wells. This is technology. This is economics that allows the powers that oppress, economic forces, those words in the text, the economic forces that oppress and put down. It is our job to speak out against that. It is our job to spread love, our job to bring others to Christ. Have faith, not fear, because it's hard. It's hard to stand up. It's hard to say, I am not going to fear you. It is hard to say, there is a world of trouble. I'm one person, but I can make a difference. It's hard to say. It's hard to imagine what you can do. But all over the world, there are single people who become an igniting force around which other people feel assured, confidence, even outrage. When it says to turn the other cheek, I want you to think about this, because I had never thought about it this way before until I took a study. It says, when someone hits you on the right cheek, what that means is that person is treating you like an inferior because they are using their right hand to backhand you across the right side of your face. When someone hits you on the right cheek, turn him the other also. What that means is you are saying, let me see you treat me like an equal. Hit me on the left side of the face. Give me a real punch in the nose. It says, do not resist your enemy, but turn him the other cheek. If someone is going to strike you, stand up to that challenge. Take the challenge to say, this is wrong. This is your witness to spread the love to people who cannot claim that challenge for themselves. We have the love, and then we have the challenge. We have immigration problems because we have all of these dangerous immigrants at the southern border. Okay, first of all, illegal is not a word you use against a person. A person is not an illegal thing. People are treated like things. Human trafficking. People are sold like drugs, used like slaves. Modern day slavery is much, much worse than even the slavery we experienced in this country a century ago. Horrible things. And people find ways of being worse. And they find ways of hiding it. They find ways of hiding discrimination. You all know this. You all experience the systemic oppression of peoples who are in the minority. Peoples who are weak. People who cannot stand up for themselves. And our witness is to say, this is not what God has planned. I have God's word in my heart. I have felt his movement, and he has sent me to speak a new message about a new day, because he has reached down his hands and brought me up out of the mud. He has brought me up out of the flood. He has brought me up out of the pit, out of the fire. And I am a new being, charged with new life, with a spirit within that cannot be quenched. It is a glowing flame that will ignite the world if I but let it shine. You do not set your light under a basket, but you set it on a stand to give light to the room. And we are the light. The light is within you. The light is within every being. St. John of the Cross, a Catholic person of the 16th century, wrote about the dark night of the soul. And the thing about the dark is that it is not a sinister, evil dark. It is an evil that, pervades the world, and we are to march out against it. But our darkness is an obscurity. We cannot see where we are going. We need to trust the Lord, and we need to take His commission and walk through that obscurity, not knowing where we are going, because it is for our protection that we do not know. Otherwise, we would stand back in fear. We would take no step further. But God witnesses to our soul, I am here. He speaks within the deepest parts of ourself. God is there for you. Walk worthy. Order my steps in your will. I want to walk worthy. And that obscurity blinds us to the dangers we must face, so that we can stand in confidence knowing it is God that guides us through the dark night. Sometimes the night is not pleasant, and yet sometimes it can be the most wonderful, exquisite, glorious pain. Sometimes it can be the most pleasurable sensation to your soul to feel God's touch in your heart, that you come alive. And you do not know what's ahead, but you know you are driven to do. You are guided by God, and you don't know where you're going. You don't know why, but you know God has called you. You specifically have a job to do. You specifically have a goal God has set for your life. He has meaning planned for you, and all of you, and all of you. God has meaning. And even if you feel like the mundane things of your everyday cause you to be complacent in your faith. Amen. What am I going to do in a workplace that does not allow me to witness to my faith? What am I going to do when the mundane orders my life? You order your life according to the will of God. You live your faith. You show your faith. You show the righteousness within, not the self-righteousness that comes from what you do from without. That's right. Your love of God will show forth in love of neighbor. Amen. Another passage from the James text, faith without works is dead. Amen. You show me your faith, I will show you my faith by the works I do, the deeds of my hands. If I am not living out my faith, it is not a reach into my soul. It is a surface, a superficial faith, a words out of my mouth. But when I live it, when I take it, I grasp it, and I hold it, and I show it to you in the hands. Amen. When I show you in my hands, the hands of Christ, when I show you in my wounds, the wounds of Christ in His side, when I show you the scars of being beaten on His back, in the things I am willing to take up for you, take up my cross for you, I am willing to allow the stain to wash me clean. To know that that is the release. To know that that is what brings us closer to God, the blessing of sharing in His suffering. Peter and the disciples, when released from jail, went about the streets praising God that they were allowed to share in the sufferings of Christ, that they were worthy to experience the oppression and the pain, so that they could better understand the work of God for them in their own lives. That they could witness to what they have seen, to confess their faith, to take it to the streets and spread it, to touch a man and say, by the name of Christ, you are healed. I bring you the witness of my faith. By the name of Christ, let me lay my hands upon you, that you may feel the hands of Christ that have been laid upon me. and be healed. Maybe you cannot do the physical things you have always expected to do when you are healed. Your spirit is what carries your feet forward regardless of what your body can or cannot do. Your spirit is what carries you through to help you see where you are, because that is the important thing to know. Where are you now? What has God laid down for you? The path where you stand. If you look too far ahead, you're going to miss the crack at your toe, and you will stumble, and you will forget that you are still supposed to be walking forward. If you look too far ahead, not ahead at all, you have to look toward a better day. You have to look at what will come, to live for that which is promised, which you have not yet seen, which is another passage from Hebrews. I'm full of them today. We look for that which we have not seen. Abraham received a promise. He hoped for what he did not see, but believed it would come. That he would, in fact, be the father of many nations. And here's another thing we can learn from Abraham. To trust, as Mildred said, to trust that God will do it in his time. Because Abraham did not live on God's time. He got worried and said, I am an old man. I got to figure a way to speed this plan of God's up. And Sarah said, you know, I'm getting old. I think I'm going to try and do this my way. So what did she do? She human trafficked her maid to her husband's bed. And as good as that may have turned out for the world, it's a wrong way to express God's love. It's a wrong way to express God's mercy. Because when we try to speed up God's plan in our way, when we try to do it too much on our own, we miss the true miracle that is Isaac's birth in old age. We miss the true miracle in Isaac's childhood, the birth of the child. We miss the true miracle of the Savior coming as a lowly babe. We look for the triumphant man. We look for the prophet who can speak words of love and mercy into our hearts and bring us alive. But he himself is alive from the smallest, the most weak position, beginning when he cannot defend himself. He is in harm's way. And it is up to his parents to protect him. It is up to those who can walk to carry him out of harm's way. The smallest children of the world cannot carry themselves when they are standing, begging, pleading, save my life. I am running from a terror that is too big for me to fight alone. I am running from hunger. I am running from pain. I am running from people who would seek to slay me. Please take me in your arms. Show me the love of God that I may live the way. We are to reach out with our witness to pick up that child, because Jesus is in that child. Jesus is the babe that we reach out to in love. When we are on the floor, we are children ourselves. We are children of God. Not one of us here will ever grow up. Not ever. We will mature. We will become adults. But we will always be babes. We will always be the children of God, needing that holy parent When we try to control our own lives, we forget that we have a Father, a Mother, a brother in heaven who look down on us and will share our pain, has shared our pain, brings us to himself through our pain. And our witness to those who share that pain is to share the joy of love. We do not discriminate. Love is for Christians only. Love is for people who look like me only. Love is for people who do like me only. Dress like me, act like me, teach like me, talk like me. When someone has an accent, we automatically think of them as less capable in our mental levels because they cannot communicate with us the same. And yet that person may be so much more brilliant than we are that we could never fathom the amount of knowledge God has placed in their brains. The smallest child may be there to save the world if we reach down and help God to save them. And that is our witness. To remember the anger, the negativity. To remember that we are not to share that negativity with others, but to bring release. To change the negativity to joy. To tell somebody who is negative, I forgive you. I release you from my own negativity because God has released you. We bring positivity to the world when we share hand in hand with each other the fight to bring change. We bring love to the world when we share hand in hand. Our commission to witness, our commission to take to the world what we have gained. Because we are stronger when we stand together and we stand on the foundation of our trust in God. Amen.
Amen.